Dinner was supposed to be harmless, a small gathering, family, if you could call them that. The plates were still warm when she said it. My sister. Fork gangling from her fingers, voice sharp enough to slice through the air. "No wonder you're single," she said, eyes rolling like it hurt her to look at me. "No woman would put up with you." The table tilted, at least it felt that way. Not a sound from me, only the faint clink of her fork against porcelain. My stepmother's laugh followed a beat later, thin and satisfied. Like they'd rehearsed it, like this was the punchline to a private joke. I stared at the candle between us. The flame shivered, but didn't break. Neither did I. Something in me cooled instead of burned. That cold carried weight. It pressed against my ribs until breathing felt optional. They always did this. Little jabs disguised as jokes. Comments about my loner habits, my empty apartment, my career that somehow wasn't enough. But tonight wasn't routine. Tonight, the air around them vibrated with something meaner, sharper. My sister smirked, sipping her wine. My stepmother leaned back, eyes glinting, as if testing how far the knife could twist. And I realized this wasn't just cruelty, it was confidence. Confidence that came from comfort, from safety, from the apartment they never paid for. The one under my name. The one I let them use because blood, however diluted, used to mean something. They thought I wouldn't fight back. They thought I'd stay quiet. They always thought that. My fingers tightened around my glass until I felt the tremor. I set it down before they saw, before they mistook my silence for surrender. I started watching them differently after that night. Not with love, with calculation. Receipts, emails, lease agreements, names on utility bills. Every document became a weapon. They thought they owned the space because they decorated it, because their perfume clung to the curtains, because I never knocked. But the walls remembered, the contracts remembered, and so did I. I tracked every overdue payment, every text where my stepmother promised she'd cover next month. Every time my sister claimed she'd pay for groceries but never did. I smiled through it all. Family dinners, casual visits, birthday calls. I smiled and filed away proof. Meanwhile, the cold inside me sharpened. Not rage, something cleaner. A blade waiting for the right angle. The final paper arrived on a Wednesday, a renewal notice. My name alone. No cosigners. No hidden clauses. Absolute control. I read it twice. The power in those words wasn't loud. It was quiet, precise. That weekend, I invited them over. Same table, same wine, same flickering candle. My sister started first. She always did. Some remark about how I'd never find someone with that personality. My stepmother's laugh followed, brittle but eager. I slid the envelope across the table. Neither reached for it. I didn't rush them. When my sister finally opened it, her smirk faltered. My stepmother leaned in, eyes narrowing at the legal language she couldn't twist. The silence that followed tasted metallic. "Must be nice," I said, my voice steady. "Living rent-free." My sister's eyes darted up. My stepmother blinked, already reaching for a defense. I didn't give them one. "Oh, wait," I continued, leaning back. "Not anymore." Their mouths opened, twin protests forming, but I kept speaking. "You're out of my apartment by tomorrow." My stepmother's laugh cracked mid-breath. My sister's face drained of color. "You can't," she started. "I can." I tapped the paper. My name, my lease, my decision. I watched the words sink in. Not a shout, not a threat, just truth, delivered like a scalpel. They sputtered. Accusations, guilt, tears. I stayed still. Let them drown in their own noise. When they finally left, the apartment felt wider, quieter, mine again. I stood by the window long after their footsteps faded. City lights flickered below, indifferent and alive. My reflection stared back, calm, unfamiliar. I expected triumph, relief, something bright. Instead, only stillness. A clean, echoing space where resentment used to live. They thought my silence meant weakness. It never did. It meant patience, and patience is a weapon. Tomorrow, they'll pack. They'll curse me. They'll call me heartless. They'll be right. I turned off the lights, the last glow slipping into darkness. No wonder I'm single. No one wants a man who waits. No one survives a man who finally stops.